The fifth installment in the live-action Resident Evil film series, Resident Evil Retribution, boldly continues the franchise's trajectory of increasingly diverging from its video game source material, further fueling the ongoing debate and controversy among fans. While the film undeniably expands the Resident Evil cinematic universe by introducing more beloved characters from the games, a move sure to please some, it simultaneously doubles down on the series' penchant for controversial creative liberties. Retribution delivers high-octane action and visually impressive set pieces, but its narrative choices and deviations from the established lore have further polarized audiences, solidifying its place as a divisive yet entertaining chapter in the Resident Evil film saga. Although the film's narrative might not win any awards for originality, it's packed with interesting behind-the-scenes trivia and Easter eggs that offer a fascinating glimpse into its production. From casting choices and on-set accidents to homages to classic sci-fi and behind-the-scenes decisions, Retribution has a lot more to offer than just its on-screen spectacle. So join us as we delve into some fun facts, uncovering the hidden details and surprising stories behind this action horror flick. But before we begin, a quick reminder that this video will contain major spoilers. And without further ado, let's jump into it.
My name is Alice, and this is my world.
During the filming of a fight scene involving Milla Jovovich, a serious accident occurred when a wheeled platform on the set collapsed, causing 16 actors to fall. The incident, as reported by The Hollywood Reporter, happened as the actors were moving between sections of the platform, causing it to give way. While none of the injuries were life-threatening, filming was halted for several days, and Jovovich visited some of the injured actors in the hospital. The paramedics responding to the scene were initially alarmed by the sight of bloodied victims until they realized that the victims were playing zombies. The costumes and makeup initially made it tough for the EMTs to tell the real injuries from the fake ones. The character of Becky was not initially conceived as hearing impaired. However, after witnessing Ariana Engineer's exceptional performance in the 2009 film Orphan, Paul W.S. Anderson and Milla Jovovich were deeply impressed. They were so captivated by her talent that they decided to adapt the role of Becky to specifically suit Engineer's strengths, incorporating her real-life partial hearing impairment into the character's backstory. The scene set in the Oval Office features a subtle but significant detail. The Great Seal of the United States is depicted with the eagle facing its left foot, which holds 13 arrows, symbolizing war. In the official seal, the eagle faces its right foot, which holds an olive branch, symbolizing peace. This intentional modification of the seal serves as a visual metaphor for the state of the world within the Resident Evil universe, where peace has been shattered and war and chaos have taken over. The entire dialogue of Li Bingbing, who played Ada Wong, was actually dubbed by Sally Cahill. Cahill, of course, is well known to Resident Evil fans as the voice behind the iconic Ada Wong in Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil: The Dark Side Chronicles, and Resident Evil 4. While Li Bingbing is indeed capable of speaking English, her accent was considered too thick for the film, resulting in the decision to have her dialogue re-recorded by a voice actor. The concept of cloning Umbrella soldiers may have originated from a casual comment made by Michelle Rodriguez during an audio commentary for the original 2002 Resident Evil film. Rodriguez suggested that Colin Salmon, who portrayed James Shade in the first film, should return in a sequel as a clone. This seemingly offhand remark ultimately found its way into the narrative of Retribution, where not only Salmon, but also Rodriguez and Oded Fair, who played Rain and Carlos respectively in the first films, reprised their roles as cloned versions of their original characters. The relationship between Alice and Becky, particularly the scene where Alice rescues Becky from a cocoon, was intentionally designed as an homage to the iconic dynamic between Ripley and Newt in the film Aliens, especially where Ripley similarly rescues Newt from a cocoon before her confrontation with the alien queen. This, however, was met with criticism from some fans and critics, arguing that this scene contradicted established lore about the behavior of lickers, as lickers had previously been depicted as indiscriminately attacking and killing their victims, rather than capturing and cocooning them, creating a perceived inconsistency with their established behavior. The thrilling car chase scene with the zombie Russian army features a dynamic musical score titled Phantom Chase, composed by Tom and Dandy. This track incorporates elements from and pays homage to the iconic music from the original 1996 Resident Evil video game, specifically referencing the second-floor mansion theme. The scene where Ada Wong and Alice meet in an underground office pays homage to a pivotal encounter in the video game Resident Evil 4, as it mirrors the first meeting between Leon and Ada in the Salazar family castle bedroom, with Ada even wearing the same distinctive outfit in both instances. Furthermore, the film reenacts Leon and Ada's brief scuffle and Ada's front flip move, as well as her interactive sunglasses from the game's cutscene to the movie. This film stands out as the first installment in the Resident Evil film series to not include the iconic Cerberus, the undead dogs that have been a recurring threat throughout the franchise. While previous films prominently featured these ferocious creatures, Retribution opted to focus on other types of undead threats, such as the Lickers, the Axemen, the Clones, and the hordes of infected. The teaser trailer for the film cleverly utilizes a fictional Umbrella Corporation advertisement titled, "This Is My World," to set the stage for the film. Providing the voiceover narration for this chilling advertisement is none other than renowned actor Patrick Stewart, lending his distinguished voice to the promotional material and adding a level of intrigue and credibility to the fictional corporation's message. Matthew Mercer, who voiced Leon Kennedy in Resident Evil 6 and several Resident Evil CG movies, also provided the reference audio used for auditions for the character in Resident Evil Retribution. Ironically, despite his experience with the role and his audition, Mercer was not cast in the film. He still finds the situation hilarious to this day. This movie marks a significant milestone in the franchise's history, in which it's the first time Jill Valentine and Leon Kennedy have ever met, whether in the established canon of the games or any other adaptation. Despite their interaction in Resident Evil Death Island as their known characters from the games, their paths had never actually crossed before this film in the wider Resident Evil universe. Paul W.S. Anderson's initial vision for Retribution was much grander, intending to film it back-to-back with the sixth and final installment, essentially creating a two-part finale for the film series. Early plans for this ambitious project included Ollie Larder and Wentworth Miller reprising their roles as Claire and Chris Redfield. However, the studio ultimately declined to support the simultaneous filming of two movies. As a result, the Redfield siblings were removed from the script, and the filmmakers refocused Retribution as a standalone film. The only remaining element from the original two-part concept was the tagline, which billed the fifth film as the beginning of the end, hinting at the approaching conclusion of the overarching Resident Evil storyline. Additionally, Wentworth Miller and Spencer Locke, who played Chris and Kmart respectively in Afterlife, were unable to reprise their roles in this sequel due to scheduling conflicts. Similarly, Ollie Larder, who portrayed Claire Redfield, was also unavailable as she had recently become pregnant. Jensen Ackles was once again considered for the part of Leon S. Kennedy in Resident Evil Retribution, a role he had been sought for in previous Resident Evil films. Despite being a potential candidate, the role ultimately went to Johan Erb. The filmmakers also considered redubbing Erb's voice for the character due to his Finnish accent, which they worried might not align with the established perception of the character. Ultimately, they decided against redubbing his voice, and Erb's performance was retained in the final cut of the film. Although it appears early in the film, Alice's dramatic plunge into the water was actually one of the final scenes to be filmed during the production. An additional shot, which was later cut during editing, showed Jill Valentine and Umbrella Corporation soldiers pulling Alice from the water after her fall. Unlike the films, Barry Burton and Leon Kennedy are not depicted as partners in the Resident Evil games. In fact, they haven't appeared together in any of the canonical games or CGI films set within the game universe. Barry is a close friend of the Redfield siblings, having worked alongside Chris in the first Resident Evil game and Claire in Resident Evil Revelations 2. While it's plausible that Barry and Leon might know each other through Claire, As both Claire and Leon debuted in Resident Evil 2, Barry and Leon did not actually cross paths. Chris and Leon, on the other hand, do know each other, also through Claire, but their first on-screen interaction occurs in Resident Evil 6, where the two are already familiar with each other. Michaela Dicker, who played the Red Queen in the original Resident Evil film, had grown out of the role by the time Retribution was in production and had also decided to retire from acting after the first movie. Consequently, the role was recast with Megan Charpentier. However, Charpentier only provided the physical appearance of the Red Queen. The voice of the Red Queen was provided by Ava Merson O'Brien, whose voice was remarkably similar to Dicker's. And this wraps up our first dive into the fun facts surrounding Resident Evil Retribution. In the next video, we'll be digging even deeper, uncovering the hidden secrets, behind-the-scenes stories, and even more trivia you probably never knew about this movie. So make sure you subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our next video. And until then, thank you for watching. Stay sharp, and we will see you in part 2.